John Lennon's assassination on December 8, 1980, shook the world to its core. As a former Beatle and a musical genius whose influence on modern culture remains unmatched, his death is widely known. Yet, beyond the headlines and the official narrative lies a labyrinth of untold details, controversial opinions, and lingering questions that continue to spark debate. This documentary delves into the shadowy corners of that fateful night, exploring hidden aspects and alternative viewpoints that challenge conventional wisdom. John Lennon was more than a musician, he was a revolutionary thinker and outspoken activist who pushed boundaries both on stage and off. After the breakup of the Beatles, Lennon's solo career flourished, as did his advocacy for peace and social justice. His provocative interviews and artful compositions earned him both adoration and enemies. As the world embraced his messages of love and unity, few anticipated that the very symbol of that peace would be felled by an act of senseless violence. On a cold December evening in 1980, outside his New York City apartment building, Lennon was shot by Mark David Chapman. The official story tells of a lone gunman driven by personal obsession and mental instability. But what if there is more to the story than meets the eye? Eyewitnesses describe a scene of eerie calm before chaos, with some insisting that the atmosphere that night was charged with a tension that hinted at premeditated misdirection. While the public was told that Chapman acted alone, some argue that the incident was set against a backdrop of political turmoil and covert surveillance, fueling theories that stray far from the accepted account. Several lesser-known aspects of Lennon's assassination have raised eyebrows among conspiracy theorists and alternative researchers. There are whispers that government agencies, alarmed by Lennon's anti-war activism and his growing influence, may have inadvertently or deliberately overlooked warning signs. Rumors persist that unexplained surveillance footage and gaps in the timeline of events on that night suggest an orchestrated operation rather than the isolated act of a disturbed individual. Critics argue that the investigation was too neatly wrapped up, with the focus swiftly shifting from potential systemic failures to the solitary figure of Chapman. Some insiders have pointed to inconsistencies in the police reports and inconsistencies in Chapman's own statements, urging a re-examination of the evidence. Though mainstream media has long dismissed these ideas as conspiracy, they continue to resonate with those who believe that in the world of rock and roll, truth is often buried beneath layers of cover-ups and institutional indifference. The way John Lennon's death was portrayed by the media also feeds into the controversy. Immediately after the assassination, the narrative was controlled by a media machine that painted a picture of a tragic but straightforward loss of a beloved artist. However, a closer look at archival footage and interviews reveals moments of hesitation and ambiguity. Critics argue that the sanitized version of events served to quell public dissent and ensure that no further questions would disturb the status quo. The debate centers on whether the media deliberately downplayed any evidence that might have pointed to a larger, more sinister conspiracy, a move designed to protect powerful interests and maintain public order in a time of political sensitivity. John Lennon's assassination remains one of the most controversial events in rock history, shrouded in mystery and ripe with alternative interpretations. While the official narrative tells of a lone madman's deed, untold details and contentious theories suggest that the story may be far more complex, a tragic interplay of personal obsession, political intrigue, and media manipulation. As debates continue and new evidence surfaces, the legacy of Lennon endures not only through his music but through the relentless pursuit of truth by his most devoted fans. Rock fans, check our new designs on nhcclothing.com. Let's rock!